Greetings, Lucky Legends. Welcome to the dojo. My name is Lucky. This is Lucky Dad TV. I'm your host of this video, and it's time for our Week 2 PMC Team Builder against V. I just call him V, because he goes by a lot of different names, and the Colorado Rapidash. So, this week, we had actually a really good matchup. I'm actually recording this after the battle. And the reason for that is that the one that I recorded before the battle, my face cam and the audio desynced. Like in OBS, they desynced. So I didn't want to upload that because it doesn't look good. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look good. I personally have an issue with it. So I'm recording this after. I'm not going to tell you what happened during the battle. You can watch the battle tomorrow. I am, in fact, able to upload it. We recreated the battle. You heard all of this yesterday, but we ended up recreating the battle. A couple things went different, which I will explain in tomorrow's video, but I'm not going to tell you what happened during the battle. But I am going to explain to you my team building process as if this was being recorded before the battle. So, first and foremost, we have Jor-El. Jor-El is our Mega Glalie. He's no longer on the team now, but he did what I needed him to do. Jor-El's job was to just maximize damage output. So, you're probably wondering why I have nothing but ice coverage on Jor-El. And the reason is because I didn't need any other coverage of any kind. The main resistance that my opponent had to Jor-El would be something like his Rotom Heat. And Earthquake doesn't hit Rotom Heat, so there's no point in using it. The set that I have here, Freeze Dry, Return, Explosion, and Ice Shard. I have Ice Shard for, chip damage. Return being reliable stab. It does a lot of damage, and I don't have to worry about any sort of recoil like if I were to run Double Edge or, as you can see, Explosion, which has 100% recoil. Freeze Dry was because my opponent has Seismitoad. Seismitoad is a big threat because if you can't take it out, it can wall stuff so well. Like, it gets outclassed by Gastrodon, because Gastrodon has reliable recovery in the form of Recover. I'd say it's about equal with Quagsire, just because Quagsire does other stuff too. But, in terms of walling, I'd say it's about equal with Quagsire, just because it has better offensive coverage than Quagsire does. It does get Drain Punch, but it's not super viable. But Explosion, this is something that I pretty much would never run unless I needed to. My opponent had Mew. The thing with Mew is that it's impossible to prep for Mew. I know this having used him in the PBL. It is impossible to prep for Mew, because even if you think you know what your opponent's going to bring, there are so many other possibilities that they could bring that all of your preparations become invalid. If you bring a Dark type to counter the Psychic Stab, Mew gets Aura Sphere by level up. If you bring a Ghost and Dark type, guess what? It learns Dazzling Gleam. There is no one Pokemon that is guaranteed to counter Mew. So basically, in order to beat it, you just have to kill it before it can do anything. That is why I was running Explosion. It does just a colossal amount to Mew, no matter what kind of set it is running. I actually want to double check real quick and see exactly what the calc was on a max defense Mew, because I don't quite remember what it was. But a bold Mew with 252 EVs in both HP and defense against this Glalie set that we're running, which is just, max attack, with a non-boosting nature. We have 252 EVs in attack. Non-boosting nature, refrigerate with explosion. Against a max defense Mew, does 91.3 to 107.7%. Minimum of 90%, which means that it is a guaranteed one-hit KO after Stealth Rock. That was basically my goal, is I wanted to be able to guarantee my one-hit KO against Mew after Stealth Rock. And if Mew is not running max defense, like let's say it has no defensive investment, if it's running like Spadef or something like that, it does a minimum of 114 even if Mew has max HP. That is why I was running Explosion, because it's pretty much a guaranteed one-hit KO on Mew. It's a 50% chance to one-hit KO without Stealth Rock, and a guaranteed one-hit KO with Stealth Rock. So that's why I had Explosion on Jor-El. I'm not going to tell you, like I said, I'm not going to tell you what happened with it, but I had it on there for that reason. Now, that was pretty much my only plan for dealing with Mew, because there was so many other... Because Mew could hypothetically counter pretty much anything else on my team, at least to a certain extent. I had another plan for Mew, which was Green Lantern over here. Our Life Orb Green Lantern with U-Turn, Knockoff, Fire Blast, and Stealth Rock. Now, again, I'm going to go over these calcs just to sort of explain to you guys my thought process. I don't remember exactly what the calcs were. I'm going to bring this back down to level 50. A Zelf. We are going to give it a Life Orb to, mimic the actual damage. And give Mew, let's just give it Leftovers. Knockoff does about 60% to Mew, and this is just a max HP Mew. I'll give it max defense just, for GP. So in this case, it does about 50% to Mew. And then I could U-turn out because we would outspeed it. Just because Knockoff would really help us wear down the Mew because it wouldn't have that Leftovers recovery. The other, like I said, I didn't bring that much to deal with Mew because there's kind of no point with all of the stuff that it can run. Mew gets Knockoff. It's a move tutor move. So yeah, Mew gets Knockoff. So it's not like you can just bring a Psychic type and expect everything to be fine. Mew gets Knockoff. So like I said, I didn't really plan for Mew that much. I brought Fire Blast because my opponent does have Mega Steelix. Mega Steelix completely walls Green Lantern unless I had something like Fire Blast. Stealth Rock was because I wanted to get my Stealth Rocks up. I wanted to be able to wear down my opponent, make sure that he can't switch for free. That's a very important thing, especially in the League format. It's important in standard format as well, but especially in the League format where you're counter teaming. Being able to minimize your opponent's switching is very, very important. I think that's one of the more important things that you want to be able to do. So one of the other kind of keys that I wanted to bring in order to ensure my victory was I needed Intimidate because my opponent has Weavile. Weavile just has such a high damage output. It's not, and it has really good type coverage. That's the thing. Is that when they nerfed Steel in 6th Gen, Weavile became a much, much, much bigger threat because you couldn't just throw a Steel type out there and it would be fine. Because, well, for one thing, Weavile does have access to Low Kick, which is a bit of an issue. Not a huge issue, but a bit of an issue. But I needed to bring Kaiten. I needed something that could one-shot Weavile and outspeed it. However, the only two Pokemon on my team that outspeed Weavile were Bloodwing, which is weak to Ice, and Jolteon, which would have to run Hidden Power Fighting, which I'm sure it one-shots Weavile because Weavile is quite frail. However, we would not appreciate a Life Orb boosted Ice Shard, and we also wouldn't be able to switch in on it more than once because we would be taking Stealth Rock damage and stuff like that. My opponent also had a lot of electric immunities, that I just didn't want to deal with. So I just opted to run Mach Punch on my Kai 10. Now, the reason I was running Mach Punch is because it's a guaranteed one-hit KO with that amount of attack investment against Weavile. And the reason I'm running Low Kick is for Mega Steelix. Mega Steelix is super duper fat, in case you didn't know. And Low Kick is a guaranteed 3-hit KO on Mega Steelix, and Steelix cannot 3-hit KO us back, so Kai 10 would actually be able to 1v1 Steelix and beat it. Which is really, really, really important. Steelix doesn't have enough damage output. Sucker Punch was for stuff like the Mew, picking it off at the end. If it lasted that long. Just like some sort of last-ditch effort to try and take down the Mew. And Rapid Spin was to remove hazards in case they ended up on my side of the field. As you can see, there are 3 Pokemon on my team that are weak to Rock, so I really wanted to be able to have some sort of hazard control. I don't think my opponent had any Ghost types, really. At least not, like, bulky Ghost types that would be able to really switch in on Kai 10. But Kai 10 was part of just... She was really the only defensive backbone to this team. I brought serious offense. And you're probably thinking, but you have Suicune. Well, I actually brought an extremely offensive Suicune set. I brought Max Speed Timid with Hidden Power Grass for that Seismitoad. Otherwise, it could wall us with Scald and Ice Beam. Scald because I wanted Stab. I didn't want to miss with Hydro Pump. And I didn't need to bother with Surf. I actually liked having the chance to burn. Ice Beam was... Did my opponent have... I'm pretty sure my opponent had a double weakness to Ice, but I can't quite remember. I know I had Ice Beam for a reason, and I'm too lazy to pull up what my opponent's team was. But I brought this set because I wanted to be able to bluff the Crocoon with the leftovers and the Calm Mind, but then fire off huge attacks. Basically, I wanted my opponent to feel like he could safely bring in Seismitoad, and then I could destroy it with Hidden Power Grass. That was kind of my plan for kind of catching my opponent off guard and seeing what I could do from there. Now, the last piece of the puzzle is Bloodwing. Bloodwing was running 4 attacks with Black Sludge and Infiltrator in case my opponent wanted to sub up with something. But as you can see, it's pretty much a standard set. U-Turn, Brave Bird, Cross Poison, and Super Fang. The reason I'm running Super Fang is because it would give me damage on something like Mega Steelix. Something that is just so incredibly fat and so incredibly bulky, it's very difficult to one-shot it reliably. Same thing with Mew. It's very difficult to reliably one-shot Pokemon that are that bulky. So that is why I had Super Fang. I wanted to be able, like, even if it ended up sacrificing Crobat, I wanted to be able to have my opponent's HP in a quick, reliable fashion so that I didn't have to use Brave Bird or something like that and take a lot of recoil. So that was our team. Oh, wait, I never went over this. This is Sun Wukong, standard set, Flare Blitz, U-Turn, Superpower. This is actually Rock Slide, not Stone Edge, for the battle. Because Stone Edge does not receive the sheer force boost, so Rock Slide is actually better. Superpower was for Rotom. No, Rock Slide was for Rotom. Superpower was for, I believe, Weavile, and I know that there was one other... Oh, and Seismitoad. Flare Blitz just hit everything else, and it did so much damage. Darmanitan is probably going to be one of my main killers this season because its damage output is so incredibly high. It just is. But anyway, that was our team for week 2 of the PMC. Make sure to watch the battle tomorrow. It was a very good battle. I personally think that I played very well, no matter what the outcome of the battle was. I want to thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. It's very much greatly appreciated. But with that, I'm going to get about. Best of luck out there. I will see you all soon. Goodbye.